This is a clip from the Camera Life podcast.
Yeah, I just got my new Canon Pro-1100. I set it up yesterday after I got home from New Zealand. I'm so excited to start printing with it. But yeah, it's
you got one too?
yours is much bigger. Oh, you've got it. So, have you got an 1100 as well?
Well, I've got the 1000, the predecessor. I have two of those, and then I have the 4100 behind me, and it's really fun because I've got frames in my house that are 24, poster size, right? And if I get bored of a photo, I just reprint another one and throw it in the frame and throw it out.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Fun stuff.
That's so good. Well, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited to play with this printer. I really like the setup. It's the easiest printer I've ever set up. Everything just worked. The connecting it to Wi-Fi and all that stuff, it all just worked. I was blown away. Normally that's a 2-hour fight where I end up putting my foot through the printer.
Yeah. When you're printing with it, the way that the vacuum pulls in the paper, like I used the other company before. So it's funny because Canon has sponsored me for cameras for 15 years. But Canon Japan's like, hey, if he's not using our printers, that's a problem. So many, many years ago, probably 12 years ago or whatever, they switched me over to Canon. And my other printer would sometimes pull in the paper sideways. It drove me crazy. Mm-hmm. This thing, every time, dead on, perfectly straight. And I love this thing. I use it. I just did a print job today for a client. I use it all the time. You'll love it. It's fantastic.
Oh, I'm excited. So we won't name the other brand, but I assume it rhymes with Snepson, or no?
You know what? It does rhyme with that. And I will say they're still good printers, and they were great people to work with. So it did. The only thing is it didn't have that vacuum pull. So
we had a 3880, and it did a good job, but it just had its issues with alignment and sometimes getting confused about what paper size it was printing on and stuff like that. Like
you'll never have
glitchy.
That with the phone. It's so freaking good. Yeah, you'll love it.
Very excited. That's probably we need to well played. Hey Canon, you could sponsor the podcast for not much money, like dollars.
Just here, take an R1, send that to Justin Castles. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, just send R1, send it this way. I'll even send my R3 back to you guys. We'll do a trade. Look how pretty it is. All right, let's talk about gear for a little second, because we already know you shoot with an R1 and an R5 Mark II. What are your go-to lenses? Is it true that I saw somewhere that you don't like prime lenses?
It depends on what I'm shooting, but I don't like prime lenses. Well, I shouldn't say I don't like prime lenses, because some prime lenses are amazing. But I zoom so much. If I'm shooting an event and I'm shooting with a prime, sometimes it's too much or too little. When I'm teaching on photo tours, I really like the 100 to 500 or the 100 to 300 or whatever, because even at the Olympics, I can't tell you how many times I've shot a sport where I'm too close to the action or too far from the action. So I'm reframing all the time. Yeah. And again, going back to trying to be different, sometimes I like a wide shot and sometimes I like to be in tight. So I don't understand like shooting a sport with a 600 f4, because I had a guy that went to Galapagos and he had a 600 f4. And I said, sometimes he couldn't shoot because we were too close to when you walk by the blue-footed boobies, you have to make sure you don't step on them. They're literally in the pathway. So you have to walk around them because they won't move. Well, you're so close to them, the 600 is too much. And other times 600 may not be enough or whatever. So I love a zoom because I'm constantly reframing. And I find that to be the best way to shoot most of what I shoot. Now, if I'm doing portraits, I still use a 7200 for most of that, but I might use, I've got an 85, I have an 85 1.2. And I was shooting I did a bar mitzvah reshoot. This family actually hired a photographer who butchered their event. So they called me up and hired me for their next kid. And they said, can you come up and shoot? We're going to get redressed up. They did no portraits before, which is shocking. So I shot, and we had the temple to ourselves because no one was there. So I did all the portraits and we had time. So I got all the shots. And then I said, you know what? Let's break out the 85 1.2. I'm going to shoot a bunch of stuff at you. And I love showing the kid and the family, what does that mean, F1.2? Because they don't know, right? No. So I'm like, so I turn the camera around, like, look at this. And I go, see, I have them do this. They're pointing at me. And I'll focus on their face on one, and I focus on their finger on another one. right? In the one shot, their face is perfectly in focus and you can't even tell it's a finger. And the next shot, the finger is perfectly in focus and you can't even see their face. And I say, see, as a photographer, I'm choosing what I want to have in focus. So if you look at the portrait of you, your eyes are tack sharp, but look at the background that's just 5 feet behind you, completely blurred. So I'm educating them, right? And then
bringing them into the process. I love it.
Yes. Yeah. And so and then they get it, and it's fun for them. A lot of times I'll even post that image where they're pointing at me with their face in focus because it's kind of funny. But I do like the primes for that. But for most of what I shoot, it's my gear when I shoot a wedding, a bar mitzvah, whatever, 7200, 2470, 1535.
Yep.
And a whole
That's
bunch
your
of
go-to.
flashes. Yeah, those are the go-tos for pretty much the entire event. Yep.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm doing a wedding, I'll bring a macro for the wedding to get the ring shot and all that stuff. But for the typical event, the trifecta, those 3 lenses. Now, if I'm on photo tour, and when I'm shooting an event, I'm R1 and R6.2 because I don't need 40 megapixels. Yep. When I go on photo tour, I prefer the R5.2, depending what I'm shooting, because I know I'm going to have to crop in to get the shot. So I'll take the R5.2 and either an R1, R6.2, depending.
How do you find the focus on the R6.2 compared to the R1 and the R5 Mark II? Is it close enough that it doesn't bother you?
It's close enough it doesn't bother me. It's not as good. It's not as fast. But again, back to your point earlier of the difference between shooting the Olympics and shooting an event like a wedding, it's great. It does a very good job for all my personal events I'm shooting. Totally fine. Is it fast enough for the Olympics? Arguable, maybe not. I haven't tried it because I won't even take it. I take the R1s pretty much always. But again, it's interesting because a lot of people balked at the R1. It doesn't have enough resolution. Well, as a photographer, I don't need 40 megapixels all the time. And I would love to be able to just have a camera goes, what resolution would you like today at full frame?
That'd be great.
Yeah.
And I've told this to the Canon, because the R1, there are times on photo tour where I know we're like on the one day that we go out for dolphin photography on the bay where we are in Costa Rica, I know we're going to be cropping because the dolphins may be jumping kind of far away. They might be jumping right by the boat, but it's hard to get them in frame. So I know I'm doing some digitally cropping that. I'll take the R5.2. Other times I know that the monkeys will be 6 feet from us. So I'll take an R1. I know I'm not going to need to crop. So it just depends on what I'm shooting. And that's why it's nice to have a plethora of different cameras to choose from, depending on what situation I'm in.
Yeah. A question about the R1, Jeff. You mentioned, I saw in one of your videos you were talking about that you were actually testing a pre-production R1 at an Olympics.
Yeah.
How was that? Was that scary for you? Did that cause you a lot of anxiety?
Yeah. So Canon, normally like Canon, Nikon, Sony, they'll come out with a camera a month before Summer Olympics. Canon was running behind. And I said to them, guys, I cannot go to the Olympics with a camera I've never used before because there's too much muscle memory and things. So luckily, Canon under NDA, and I couldn't even tell people I was going, they flew us to a location in the US, a bunch of us photographers that were going to be relying on these cameras. And we got to, hold and play with an R1 and an R5.2 in advance. And they actually hired a sports center where they had different sports indoors. And we shot to test it. Yeah. And that was great. But it was one day of shooting or a day and a half, and then we're out. And so it wasn't enough. At least gave me some ideas of what I needed to do. Then I got a prototype. No, I did not get a prototype. I did before. With the R3, I got a prototype a couple weeks before the games. With the R1, I did not. So I showed up in Paris. And the other thing with prototypes is you can't ship them over international borders. So I had to go to Paris and pick them up because remember, it's not even a real product. So if it gets confiscated, you're toast. So I flew to Paris. And they had 3 R1 prototypes waiting for me and R5.2s in Paris. But I'm trying to set this up. I can tell you that the first game I shot where I told you I had the wrong settings and I didn't shoot very well. I was kind of upset with myself. but I was trying to use a new camera. And I'm also in a new venue. I hadn't shot Olympic stuff in 2 years, actually 4 years, because I didn't go to Beijing because of COVID. So that was weird.
And then you could only shoot JPEG, is that right?
That sucked. Yeah, and I was just about to say that. And I'd shoot JPEG because I use Photoshop. I use Photo Mechanic for culling and Photoshop for retouching. And Photoshop wouldn't open a RAW file from the R1. About a week into the Olympics, Adobe changed the camera RAW and included the R5 too. So if I use the R5 too, I could actually shoot RAW. So halfway through the Olympics, I switched to shooting RAW. The R1, they never did. So that sucked, shooting JPEG, although the JPEG files were great. I prefer to shoot everything RAW. But it was really hard to because I've always joked, and if you've watched any of my interviews over the last 10 years, I've always said, don't give me a prototype the day before the Olympics. That was
and fair enough too.
Yeah, it was not ideal. And I told Canon, I kept pleading with them, like, give me a prototype. In between when they flew me out to that location, we still had about 3 weeks or 4 weeks before the games. Can you give me a prototype to play with? And they said, we don't have any. And I was like, oh my God. And then you're shooting on firmware, testing it where they flew us out. We were shooting on different firmware. So some things didn't work right. We couldn't post the images online. And then we go to Paris. I get my prototype cameras, and the firmware has changed, and some of the features have changed. So that was not ideal. And I'm pleading with Canon, don't do that before the LA 2028 games. Let's hope.
Fair enough.
They will.
Fair enough.
R5, R1 Mark II coming. Sure.
And that could be. And again, everybody always asks me, what's coming next, or have you played with this prototype? And of course, I can't say because
I get that too, Jeff. I'm a Fuji fanboy, and I get to test and review Fujifilm products before they go live. And these two down here will often grill me about what I have, and I've got to respect the NDA.
What's funny is the rumors with all the rumors and everything going on. Like, we know what he's got, and he'll show us the locked Pelican case that they send him, and he's like, I can't tell you what's in this box, and we're like, I know what's in the box.
Well, the weird part is when people contact me and go, I know you have a Canon R1 because you're doing the Olympics. And I didn't. And I played with it, but I'm like, I didn't even have one. And I've had people say to me stuff like, there's been rumors of an R6 Mark II. R6 Mark III. For like months. And people are like, I know you have one. I'm like, no, I don't have one. And I think you're full of crap because the R6 II didn't come out that long ago, and I know Canon's typical schedules. So I'm like, I don't think there's an R6 Mark III coming out anytime soon.
And they're like, no, you're wrong. Didn't it?
Yeah, no, and it's still not out. And people were, for the last 3 months, would be like, no, you're wrong because Canon Rumors says it's coming. And I'm like, they might say it's coming, but and typically I will know, or I'll have one. But if I don't have one, I'll tell people, I think you're wrong. And then when I do have one, I have to just be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah.